and just recap the week or kind of fill everybody in on how it went in Washburn.
Yeah, Washburn's a good meet for us. We had some guys really do some big things. This guy to my right had an okay day. We had some kids that didn't perform up to their expectations. We're still pretty heavy in the weight room, so they're depending on event. We were able to capitalize on some pretty good competition. It's a huge meet, just a monster of a meet. We didn't get everybody in everything we wanted to get in because of their limitations on total numbers, but those that had an opportunity to compete seemed to do pretty well overall.
I wanted to ask you here real quick, how does yourself and the coaches keep you and your teammates prepared for a meet like that to perform like each and every week the way you guys do?
Yeah, so it's kind of a ebbs and flow when it comes to a distance event because you can't be 100%, and even the sprinters as well. You can't be at your 100% for every single race. So it's a complicated balance of trying to peak and taper when it really matters. But the coaches really know what they're doing, and they get that figured out.
Well, we think so. Sometimes we miss. I had some pretty good expectations for a few people, especially on the sprint side, and we just we weren't quite ready to go in a couple of events. The 400 in particular, I didn't feel like we executed. We executed. There just wasn't anything there. I mean, that's the testament to how hard we went in the weight room on Tuesday and Thursday, and they did a great job. But like I said, sometimes you just don't have that pop, and that was evident on a couple of events.
Coach, question. With Washburn, with the elevated track surface, kind of a one-off situation for this season. Is that the only track you're going to see that has those specifications with that incline track, or will you see that again?
Well, with a big bank like Washburn, it's a huge bank, but we go down there. We went to Mizzou because of the bank. The Mizzou track is going to be a little bit more like the Indianapolis track, in between crazy high bank and really low bank. Washburn's really tough, and to learn how to run on that, especially for some of our first timers down there, it was hard. But those that had competed there a few times performed very well. Chloe, for instance, she's run there quite a bit. She had a lifetime PR over outdoor in the 200, so that was fantastic. The nice thing about Washburn and the bank, it doesn't affect these guys so much on the distance side. They very rarely have much of a bank. If you're out in 2 and 3, maybe, but we went down there to kind of get a feel for that. It's a different race in the 800. Max likes to come from behind a lot in that 800, and the 300 flat gives us more time to do that. He's got to change philosophies a little bit at national meet because it is such a short straight versus our long straights on the 300.
So follow up, philosophical question then, do you tell your athletes, both of you guys too, is it kind of like an out of sight, out of mind with that, the Washburn style now? Is that the highest bank that you're going to see all season long? And, or do you kind of recoup, get back to kind of a normal style track after this? Or will you experience some of those same, what's the word I'm looking for? Specifications with the track itself the rest of the year? I mean, is this the way that you went into the Washburn meet? Will you go into another meet the same way the rest of the year with the mindset that you have with the style of track at play?
Yeah, I mean, like Coach said, it's a different race, especially in a shorter race like an 800. I haven't raced an 800 yet, but we will this weekend. And it's just, when you're making a move, you only have a really one opportunity in 800 to make a move, else you won't be able to finish in the time that you're looking for or the place you're looking for. But it limits your ability because you don't want to go up on that high curve because it's taking a significant amount of energy to pass on the curve. So it is just changing the entire game. Maybe less so in a longer event like a mile because I can be more patient and wait for a straightaway. But I don't know, Max, you did run an 800 there.
Yeah, it was interesting because I got pushed off at the beginning of the race, so I was in the back, as he said. Mm-hmm. It was not my intention. I wanted to be up front, but I didn't get that chance. And I worked my way up, and it's difficult because when you have 10, 12 people in the race on that small of a turn, it could be very hard. but I had the opportunity to pass on the turn, and I think it worked pretty well for me. So
Yeah, you almost have to set up your strategy, and like Riley had mentioned, in the 800, you have one move, and if you make it too early, it's going to be you're going to be walking home. It's going to be bad. Everybody's going to pass you. So you got to be smart about it. And because the straights are so short, you have to plan your pass at the beginning of the curve to execute mid-curve to come off and hit that straight and have pass in time to cut in on the next curve. And we teach, the track is 200 meters around, but if you're in lane 2, it's no longer 200 meters. It's longer than that. We don't really run fast if you're running 805 meters. That doesn't make sense. We try to run as close to 800 meters as possible, so we want to be on the rail. That doesn't always work. You don't want to be on the rail on a curve on the last curve either, because people are tired trying to pass and going to fall down into you, and you get bumped off the track. So it's a different game, and so going on this bank is very important. It's a great practice for what we're doing. These guys will be at the national championship and have that 200 bank that's not quite as steep, and this is the maximum incline allowed Washburn's track. So it's big curves. I think that's the learning how to navigate 10, 12 people in your race, for instance, and having one move is important. And Max did a good job later in the race. Didn't quite set up early like we maybe wanted, but he got an opportunity to go through traffic and learn from that, and still got what we wanted. I mean, he's quote unquote making finals, right? In the national meet, that's totally acceptable. Win your heat, move on. So that's kind of our goal, is teach these guys some of those lessons, and you got to go through it. Just got to race.
Max, other than the beginning of that race where we're giving you crap, obviously, but it's been a great start to the indoor season for you. Just how do you feel like you're running at this point, and kind of take us through kind of the first few meets of the indoor season here.
yeah, I think I had a pretty good race early in the season, as you said, in December. I mean, I have personal PR, yes. And I'm in the national meets. I mean, I think pretty set up.
We're pretty good.
Yeah, we're feeling
pretty good about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I raced a double. So I raced the MA and the 800. So obviously the 800 was gonna be a little slower. And then this race at Washburn, which didn't end up in the way I wanted to. I still executed the plan of the coach, which was like make a move around 300, and then try to win the race. But I had to make a lot of ground to be at the 300 meter mark, ready to go. And wasn't optimal, obviously, but I think I'm pretty fit. I feel pretty fast, and I think we're on to a good one for this weekend.
I think the big thing to take from this, and Max, this is to you, when you get to the national meet, nobody cares how fast you run.
Oh yeah, no,
It's all about placing, right? We got to be in a place to move on to finals. We got to and place highly to go get those trophies and those points. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how fast you run. Max, the goal is to get into the meet. We've done that, and believe that that's going to hold pretty good for a while. That's really fast. So we'll be in the meet, and we'll have an opportunity to then go for places after that. So it's hard sometimes to look up and see a time that you don't want. And I had to battle with a few of our kids and set them down and said, look, we don't care what's on the scoreboard right now. We care about how you executed the plan. Did we set up the race properly, manage expectations, and know that we still have 4 weeks of training before the MIAAs, and let alone another 2 weeks before nationals. We're in a really good spot. And it's hard sometimes because everybody wants to run fast and have a personal best all the time. It's simply not the case. That's not how we do it. If you're having personal best right now, I'm worried about later in the year where we might not be able to be at our best.
Riley coming off cross, and now kind of getting into the stretch run indoor. How kind of the same question: where you feel like you're at this point? How you feel like you're running?
Yeah, coming off of a pretty decent cross season, I'm pretty aerobically fit, so I was never scared that was a problem. And the winter training block went really well. It's harder in northern Iowa to get like fast work in because all I have access to is a flat 200 meter indoor track. So the speed type work was was limited. I still executed, but it's not as good as it is training up here on the 300-meter track. So coming into my first race when I ran the 4:11 mile, I was pretty disappointed with. I just knew that I wasn't quite sharp enough. And then 2 more weeks of training, and I ran 4:03. So it was,
is that a school record?
it was a school record.
Who held that record before you?
I took
broke
it from Max.
Oh, Max.
It's
So
okay.
Max,
You can have it. I don't
no.
Yeah, but no, I feel like I'm in a good spot. We have such a good mile crew. Like,
Yeah, honestly.
it's iron sharpens iron, and that's really evident in our squad.
And so let's talk about that. We have a really good mile squad. I don't know if you guys know how good. 4:03, 4:04, 4:04, 4:08. That's our top 4 guys in indoor mile. And that's awesome, especially basically January. Now, technically, that's February 1, I guess, when you got that. But it's a really good spot where we're at. I wish there was a 4x-mile at Nationals. We
We have the
pretty
best
well.
squad in the nation.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, it's great. So I think that's the point is that these guys are doing great things early. Riley's unique in that he has to do things a little bit different than some, and he has to kind of be careful in his first 5 to 800 meters of that mile because he does build lactate very quickly, and so he cannot get out in the front. So you're going to see him come from behind an awful lot in his races, and that is just how he's built, his plumbing, right? I mean, coaches figure that out. Riley knows this, and so he has a different strategy than some in the mile races.
No worries about the track this next one. Obviously back home again. So we've done this a few times now, but what are you looking for as your turn back to Hughes?
It's nice to get to Hughes. Obviously, we know the track. We get to sleep in our own beds and just kind of go compete. And again, we're not in a place where there's major expectations. We are going to open up a distance medley relay, and that is our ultimate goal. For this meet, there's only a few goals, and that's get a few kids into nationals. The distance medley relay on both sides, men and women, are going to go for a time to qualify. That is priority number 1, and then we have some other individuals that still need to try to make the meet. I believe we're in a good position training-wise to really see some of those marks be hit, and so we're excited about that. It's a big meet. Looked just recently, there's almost 1,200 athletes already entered, so we still have a day and a half of entries, and so we will get more, which is exciting. There's going to be 50, 60 teams represented at the end, which is pretty crazy. So a lot of people coming to Maryville this weekend, and we're excited to host that because it is our premier meet. And so if you want to see a good show, come to Hughes. It's going to be pretty exciting.